Around 1 in 4 searches on Google, which is about 28,000 every second, are for adult content. Pornhub alone reported over 42 billion visits in 2022. The number of new uploads on adult sites exceeds 100,000 daily. About 63% of porn came from free sites. Annually, porn sites generate approximately $4.6 billion globally from advertising alone. The global pornography industry is valued at approximately $97 billion annually, according to stats found on zipdo.co. As a mother of a boy, I felt a deep need to write about the things I read about in The Fix by Damian Thomson and Digital Cocaine and the Dark Side of Technology by Brad Huddleston. This podcast episode is dedicated to my son and all the adults and children in the sex industry. Children aged 12 to 17 comprise the largest demographic of online porn viewers. 4 out of every 5 children aged 14 to 16 use their home computers to regularly look at explicit material. Sexting or amateur porn among minors has become so common that it does not make news headlines anymore. Sadly, 79% of unsolicited porn exposure happens at home. Some minors have been turned into sex offenders since pornography has become the main mode of sexual education among the youth. In his book The Fix, How Addiction is Invading Our Lives and Taking Over Our World, Damian Thomson writes, "Digital porn is the equivalent of cheap gin in Georgian England. It provides a reliable, dirty hit that relieves misery and boredom. You don't know how strong it is until you've tried it, at which point you may discover too late that you're wrestling with obsessions that until a few years ago you thought were confined to ferret-faced men in raincoats hanging around the school playgrounds." The Fix addresses several addictions, including food, binge drinking, gaming, subscription, drugs, technology, and sugar. But he says of porn, of all the addictions described in this book, it is the one that comes closest to panicking the experts. But what is it about porn, other than how the sophistication of technology makes it much too accessible, that has the experts so concerned? It is not just the fact that, to your brain, watching porn is like taking heroin and cocaine simultaneously, in that it releases dopamine via arousal and opiates via the relaxing effect of orgasm. Nor is it the fact that it does not cause endorphins to be released, which makes one feel satisfied enough to stop pursuing something. Neither is it the fact that combining these effects lead to increased tolerance and obsessive behaviours. No. It is a type of tolerance and its effect on society that has experts so concerned. Unlike other drugs, users do not necessarily require extra. They require novelty. And what that translated to in the world of pornography is an eventual shift from vanilla to hardcore porn, which has become the industry standard. According to Thomson, internet porn takes apparently ordinary people to dark places that they thought were beyond their imagination. What is the porn industry's response to the addicted viewers' growing appetite and demand for novelty? Well, like any other industry, they supply the demand. This includes both companies and small-timers posting home videos on free sites. Surely, we couldn't expect this industry of all industries to be concerned with ethics. Maybe you are telling yourself that it is all just fake and digital, so who cares? But the truth is that somebody had to live through violent and disgusting sexual experiences to satisfy you. The industry's crimes against humanity, for lack of a more suitable term, becomes painfully obvious when you read about what happens behind the scenes. And if you watch the product, you are an accomplice. I also want to thank my husband for allowing me to use his art. You're looking at an artwork he painted from his imagination, which I felt suited the theme of this podcast. You can find a link to his website in the description below, where you can buy existing paintings or prints, or order custom paintings or portraits. The majority of porn viewers are male, accounting for roughly 80% of viewers. The porn industry and its consumers view women as objects for male gratification. And due to the increasing preference for hardcore pornography, abuse has become part of the job. Sadly, other taboo forms of pornography also exist, like child pornography and bestiality. The most searched for keyword related to porn in 2022 was teen. Victor Malik, author of the book The Johns, Sex for Sale and the Men Who Buy It, says, "The internet is just ablaze. It's ablaze with porn. This has nothing to do with sex, this porn. It has everything to do with degradation and dehumanization of women." Shelley Lubben exposes the horrors and abuse that is commonplace in this industry. She writes, "Some women hate it, that is, being touched by strangers and being degraded by their foul smells and sweaty bodies, so much that they can be heard vomiting in the bathroom between scenes." Brad Huddleston comments on the sex industry that it is clearly legalized rape and is sickening to the stomach. And the truth is that the majority of women of porn are drugged or drunk. They are not enjoying it. They are given drugs to mask the physical and emotional pain and to make them seem as though they like what is being done to them. In reality, these women, children, and men not only sustain emotional, psychological, and spiritual wounds, they are also physically injured or made ill. Pornography is a glorification of everything that is wrong with the world, and there is no way to be involved in it and be innocent. When you watch porn, you are actively supporting the industry and keeping it aflame. You might be willing to carry the burden of your immorality for a bit longer, but they are being destroyed for your indulgence. Your guilt is not primarily based on your sexual immorality, but on exploitation. It is not a matter of lacking self-control, but of lacking compassion. You are helping destroy the lives of women, men, even minors, by supporting the vilest industry in all of history. What if these strangers were yourself, your mother, siblings, children, or God forbid, your baby? You are gratified by the real-life brokenness and desperation of strangers you ought to have loved. Their pain and desperation have become your pleasure. You are actively helping create a terrifyingly disturbed society that you yourself can't escape from. I want to believe that the men and women who are tapping into porn like you wouldn't believe don't understand this yet, especially those who call themselves Christians. If all Christians stopped watching porn and started working against it, the industry would suffer a tremendous blow, which is what is supposed to be happening. Sadly, statistics indicate that many Christians watch porn. Pornography exploits loneliness, while at the same time promising to relieve it. Viewers might feel as if their intimacy needs are being met, but they're just looking at a screen. And the more they do it, the more they confuse pleasure with sex. Healthy sex is an intimate and pure activity between two people who dedicate their lives and hearts to one another. Porn makes sexual experiences shallow, and for many viewers, they rarely experience human touch and eventually even lose the ability to respond to it. Sadness or boredom can also trigger a porn addiction. Watching riskier and riskier materials is a part of the game, and sadly for individuals with OCD-like behavior, their lives could be completely devastated, even when at first they showed no signs of OCD-like behavior. If none of this convinced you to quit porn, consider the longest study on happiness. The Harvard study of adult development has established a strong correlation between deep relationships and well-being. In short, if you want to be a happy, whole, and loved person, don't watch porn. And here's why. Your wife or husband can't make your fantasies real, and especially if you're a man and you're into hardcore porn. It is nothing other than abuse to ask them to. You will no doubt hurt your wife in an attempt to make love, which is the opposite of loving her. Even if you prefer so-called softcore porn, no relationship can survive continued infidelity. Even if two people continue to live together under such conditions, their relationship and their love cannot withstand the burden of these unrealistic expectations and betrayal. Either or both will feel abused and or dissatisfied. Damian Thomson said it best. Short of digitizing themselves, there is no way they could fulfill the needs of the pornography-obsessed partner. Why? Because, to put it bluntly, their partner no longer wants to have sex with human beings. Their brains have been conditioned by fantasy. Sex with another person can no longer produce the same rush of dopamine and endorphins that masturbating and orgasm in front of a computer can. This is the logical endpoint for both sexes of an addiction to internet pornography. And if you think watching it together won't harm your relationship, think again. Pornography is the enemy of intimacy. When we turn people into things or sexual images, we also dehumanize ourselves. It is what Thomson calls a self-destructive leap. Adults and children alike no longer know how to establish and maintain relationships. They no longer draw a line between lust and wild passions and love and intimacy. Relationships are character builders, but with cheap, fast sexual experiences, we're turning into lonely and unhappy people. Huddleston reports that while pornography activates the appetitive system by way of dopamine, an orgasm caused by pornography does not release endorphins, which are the chemicals that make us feel satisfied. Intimacy with the human does. We can have fulfilling relationships, but not with any form of porn in the picture, even if your spouse has no idea. Thomson reports a strangely intimate, possessive, and protective relationship with technology among porn watchers. He says that viewing porn can be made to seem less dirty by the sheer smartness of the technology. The thrill of owning these nice things may increase the dopamine reward provided by the porn. It's all a part of the hit. Obviously, computers count too, but for many of us, smartphones have nearly become a part of our own bodies, making them far harder to avoid. Over 70% of viewers use smartphones for watching porn. Digital technology is where your addiction comes to life, and without it, this industry would basically die. It is what is keeping you isolated, passive, lonely, depressed, and passionless. But it isn't real. It is just pictures on a screen. Switch it off. You need to learn to hate the darkness of the substitute reality you're drowning in, not just for what it is doing to you, but for what it is doing to the people in the industry, their children and family, your children, your spouse, and society as a whole. If you love porn, you'll tell yourself it isn't all that bad. You'll think about how the way you're watching it doesn't really support the bad porn industry, and you won't want to admit that every bit of it is rotten to the core, and that you've always had a choice. You will lie to yourself and find ways to keep it around for a rainy day. You will lie to others too, and your mental health and spirituality will suffer. If you hate what porn is, you'll do whatever it takes to be free. You'll fight for your life and those you love with sweat and blood. I believe there are 5 answers to the problem of pornography. The first, digital accountability. This includes blockers, accountability software, and accountability partners. It also includes a low-tech, low-screen time life. If you haven't watched part 2 and part 1 of this series, please watch them afterwards. I'll be making more episodes on these topics. The second, compassion. Everyone in the porn industry is broken. Don't exploit people you were supposed to love. Learn to care about the lives of strangers. Just because your screen is fake doesn't mean they are. The third, connection. Don't allow yourself to be lonely. You need to learn to build meaningful relationships with others. It takes work and effort to be someone others like having around. Do the work. The fourth, passion. Develop your talents. Get a goal in life. Use your free time to grow. Learn to become your own friend instead of your own enemy. Stop living for baser passions and press towards the mark of the high calling. The fifth, love and fear God. Fearing God does not only mean respecting Him. It means having the ability to tremble in His holy presence. If you're watching pornography, you don't fear God. You're toying with His mercy. And at some point, He will put His foot down. And as far as I know, He's pretty big, so I suggest you scoot before you're pulped. If you are a not-so-proud supporter of the porn industry and you call yourself a Christian, either stop calling yourself a Christian or stop watching porn. There is absolutely no way on earth you can do both. God will not be mocked. You can't hide behind how difficult it is to quit and how strong the temptation is. It is what we've been warned against over and over. Watch out. It is strong. Don't go there. Fighting against sin is difficult, but that is what it means to be a Christian. Stop hiding and start identifying your cues. Why are you watching porn? Figure it out and address it by whatever means necessary. Get back up and fight. This is a war for your soul, your family, your children, your friends, your society. If you are a parent, I hope that this episode settled any questions you had concerning giving smart devices to your children of any age. Whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him if a millstone were hung around his neck and he would drown in the depth of the sea. Matthew 18:6.